Okay, welcome to another episode of the Critical Introverts podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Senor Filth. I'm with Trevor Brown and Aithne.
Hello.
Am I saying that right? Aithne?
Aithne, yep.
Aithne, right? I
Like
guess.
ethanol, but E.
Right.
All right. I guess I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Aithne, if you want to go first.
Yeah,
You should probably go first.
my name is Aithne, and I'm from Orlando, Florida, and this is my second episode. And I met Senior Filth via Instagram, creative connections via Instagram, and I'm excited to talk about Yay tonight.
Yeah. All right, Trevor.
My name's Trevor Brown, and this is going to be very topical. I'm in two businesses. One is the news business, where I do news slightly differently than everyone else, and by slightly differently, I mean very differently. But once you see it, it's not as phenomenal as people think it is when I explain it. And the second business I'm in the business of making people cancel-proof for a living. One of the things that I do with my cancel-proof business is paid ads for Liberty platforms for your businesses and things like that. Paid ads over on Rumble. I'm in talks with Getter with their support team about when they'll be having paid ads, and yeah, so you don't need Silicon Valley platforms. I post on Instagram for the lulz, but all my reels that I post on Instagram get more views on Getter anyway.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about Getter. I need to get better.
If you want me to manage your Getter profile for you, we can talk about it later.
Yeah. All right, so I guess let's just start. There's so much about this Yay Kanye thing that just annoys me. I guess I'll just start by saying I think this interesting thing about this culture war thing is like if you were to describe like the battlefront lines, like how it's the North versus the South, it's sort of, to me, it just boils down to like mainstream media versus alternative media. And the Yay thing, to me, it's sort of like a meeting of both worlds in a way. So I think in that sense there is some good out of it. I don't know, like, how do you guys feel about that?
Well, when he first wore the shirt at Fashion Week,
that was funny.
Yeah, when it kicked off the whole thing, I was really excited about it because I think that like whatever this side is, like it's not really whatever it is, like the liberty side or truth side or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
We need like cultural figures, like relevant ones.
Yeah.
And I was really excited, but then he started acting crazy. I was like, damn it. Like, I was like, all right, shut up, stop. So
yeah.
I don't know. That was kind of just how I went with it. I was really excited, and I was like, posting like his songs and stuff on my Instagram. And then I was like, oh, well, just kind of not sure about this.
Yeah. What do you think, Trevor?
Well, I think that the sort of recent stuff with the Kanye phenomenon, where he's making fun of white people with funny hats, that aspect of it, I think it's your fault. Every single one of you. Every single filthy, disgusting yank. I'm mostly kidding, but I'm just getting to a point where I'm like, okay, so you let the BLM types violently pillage working class communities and causing trillions of dollars in untold community investment. Then you justified it by saying, oh, it's okay. Every single one of these buildings that we violently pillaged, all of the owners have insurance for absolutely everything. Right. So all of that evil that we did is fine because their insurance premiums are going to go up. The failed terrible actions. Is everything okay?
There's a little bit of a cut off there. Go on though.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so everything that we did is going to cost you even more money now, and that's why it's a good thing. And then you let this keep going. We actually had, and in many ways still have, a caste system between those who you post your stuff on YouTube. So I'm gonna do the newspeak version of this. You post where we still have in a lot of cases a caste system where if you received certain medical treatments, you express certain beliefs and you denigrate certain people on the grounds that they are those people, you get access to certain privileges in society. So I'm just supposed to be surprised that a billionaire could claim oppression.
Mhm.
Now, what happened to him, where like his MK Ultra doctor drugged him into oblivion, the fact that they took his Apple Pay, all that stuff. I totally get that. A broken clock is right twice a day, right? But when he goes into it's the Jews, like I'm just like, you lost me.
Yeah.
I was about to cold call you. I was about to help you, but then you started talking about the Jews, and like I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about you anymore.
I will say, seeing him on Tim Pool, even though it's for like 20 minutes or whatever, like it was interesting to at least see someone of that kind of ilk in fame or whatever, to just know that like the Tim Pool worlds exist. Yeah, and I think that something about that, like I think there's just some good into that. What happened in the Tim Pool thing was kind of a train wreck.
It was very disappointing. I was looking forward to Kanye being Kanye for like in front of Tim Pool for 2 whole hours.
Yeah.
With Milo Yiannopoulos and Nick Fuentes, but no, they had to dip.
Yeah. I do think that maybe I'm not sure if he knew what he was getting into. I think he maybe expected it to be an interview, and that's not Tim Pool's show, so maybe that got him out.
Then again, Milo or Fuentes could have briefed him.
Probably, yeah. So that whole thing is just weird.
The whole thing is weird because it almost seems like, he was on Tim Pool's show and he didn't go in the direction that he wanted to go, so they left. And I don't know if you guys have been listening to Tim's like follow-up shows, like it's a lot of
some
weird
of
stuff.
them, yeah.
Like they never confirmed the hotel rooms. They had like a jet waiting for them, like just some weird stuff that it's like, okay, were they kind of like planning to like dip in case it didn't go how they wanted it to go? And in which case it's like, how did they want it to go and to what end, because the next day, then he goes on Alex Jones and goes nuclear. And I'm just like, was he planning to do this on Tim Pool to try to get Tim Pool canceled? Maybe I don't know.
I'm not sure. It's all confusing. Like part of like I didn't even really go. I didn't really listen to that much of the Alex Jones thing because
it
seemed kind of fake.
Hour and I was just like, I'm done. I literally can't do this anymore. Even though I'm literally playing video games while I'm doing this. I literally can't sit here and listen to this anymore. This is just the most retarded nonsense.
Yeah,
I just can't be bothered.
It seemed, it seemed kind of staged or overplayed. It's
with his net and Yahoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. Weird because it's weird that he's being handled by Milo. Do you know what I mean? Like,
not anymore. He dipped.
Yeah,
like a week and a half in, he dipped.
It's like, how did those guys connect, and like, why? And
well, they've all been treated as second-class citizens by a giant apparatus that seeks to deprive people of equal access to the public square for saying 2 + 2 = 4, and other things.
Yeah, but
that seems weird.
Yeah, so I do think they probably just connected on the what do you call it? Like they had they were all canceled in some way, so they had that kind of thing connecting them. I'm not sure if,
or as critical race theorists would say, a coalition of the margins attacked the center.
So I'm not even sure if like Kanye really knows Milo or Nick Fuentes that much. I could be wrong.
He doesn't seem like the kind of person who would remember who they are at first hearing about them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's like I was saying to you before you got on, Trevor. It's Kanye's like his ideology is very kind of jumbled up because he's got like Milo and Nick, so we've got what they think and believe. But he seems to have gotten a hold of some kind of like this like Black Israelite, like kind of
Black Hebrew Israelites. Yes, they are not Black Nazis. They are not National Socialists. They're just
Right.
Black
But
nationalists.
but that's what I'm saying. Those two don't really go together. Like there are different brands of like anti-Semitism, and it seems like the ones that he's kind of caught up in come from like different opposing worlds. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think Kanye is just getting like I think it's like you said, like he doesn't, if you're not used to kind of sorting through the propaganda, it comes at you really quickly and
Mm-hmm.
you don't really know how to sort through it. So I think in a way he just kind of imploded really quickly with too much information too quickly.
Yeah, like I don't know. Did you guys ever have like a red pill moment, or were you guys just always these type of persons?
No. I absolutely had a moment. I had like many months, but yes.
Like how did like was it similar? Like did like all these ideas just go in your head? You didn't really know what to think, or
Well, for me, what it was in 2020 when like the riots started. I posted something online because like I had lived in Philadelphia. We live in Florida now, but people had posted videos of the things that were happening there, and I basically just said like, you don't have any excuse to like violate people's personal property for whatever reason. I got attacked online by people that I knew, like had known forever for so long, and it was like from there on, and all the content that people were posting and people like beating their chest and like yelling at the sky about their white privilege. I was like, there's something weird going on here. I had never been political. I would have said I was a Democrat or I was a liberal, but like, I didn't really know. I don't know. Looking back, I didn't know what that meant. So at that point I started, I think I Googled something like, do all Black people believe white people are racist or something? And I think I found James Lindsay's first Rogan interview. He had just done it. And then from there, I kind of fell down the rabbit hole.
But did you find yourself going down like paths that like, you know, were that you look at now, you're like, that's just nonsense kind of shit. Like, did you ever?
What do you mean?
The CRT stuff, when I read through all of it, I'm like, wow, this is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Was there any like dead end things that? Because I think I think he's just like, he's in the path of like going through all these dead ends, but he's just so maybe he's like so excited to finally say these things that he just blurts it out. And
well, I think it's like if you go back to Kanye's moment with a few years ago with Mike Myers when he was like, George Bush does not care about Black people. Well, he's actually, I mean, he's right. But the fact is George Bush doesn't care about the working class is actually what it is. So I think you're right. As you start to kind of like really sort through all of these moving pieces that are happening, that as our society is crumbling, you're like, wait a minute, what does this have to do with this? And how does this factor go with this? And what is like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the confusion is a useful tool for them, to be honest, because if you can't really put together what's going on, then it's really hard to like, you know, really get your bearings and know who's for you and who's against you. And it's still hard, even when I feel like you kind of know a little bit.
Yeah, like I remember, I wouldn't say like I think I've always kind of been this kind of person, but I remember, what would you say, like when Gamergate kind of first started, that's when a lot of like just weird internet paths started opening up, and I just for fun as a hobby, I would like just go into shit. Like I followed like the alt-right stuff for a little bit, not because I was fucking like, yeah, finally, but I just wanted to know and just see what they thought and like weed out some of the things that they say that sort of make sense, but then dig into the shit that makes them just kind of retarded, you know what I mean? So I think he just,
well, the problem,
go ahead.
Finish, it's cool.
No,
go
ahead,
it's cool, finish. The problem that American society faces is that there's this undertone that every faction has of may the best man win, may the best idea flourish. But the problem is this undertone doesn't match people's actions. The fact is, if Kanye could have been a little bit calmer and a bit more strategic, we wouldn't be talking about how insane Kanye was. We'd be talking about, oh shit, Gen Z went from my generation went from black supremacists to anti-Semitic black supremacists overnight. Oh my God, Gen Z is doomed. Gen Z this, Gen Z that. And so if you sort of connect the dots with the way the corporate press and the way the Silicon Valley handles itself, operates, especially with the new Twitter file stuff that's coming out, which will be old news by the time your show goes out, Mr. Filth.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, but the point is, if you connect big tech, the corporate press, all these things, you slice them. You slice them, dice them, mix them, put it in a blender, have yourself a nice shit smoothie. Then what you have is essentially a caste system. And I think that when Nick Fuentes and Kanye and Milo are getting at is, I spent unfortunately too much time looking into this sort of I don't want to say unholy trifecta, because Nick Fuentes is Catholic, and I know a lot of people who are Nick Fuentes fans that I just don't feel like poking the bear right now. It's late, but if you look into what they believe, what they're essentially saying is identitarian fervor is okay for some groups like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. It's why Kanye started all this wearing the White Lives Matter shirt.
Yeah.
And why I think he's going into the anti-Semitism, because we have a lot of societal hypocrisy in the United States when it comes to this sort of identitarianism. The legal stuff says you're not allowed to do it, except for some legal stuff where it says you are allowed to do it, but you can't do it for these people. It must come at the expense of these people. These races are allowed to say these slurs against these people, but you can't say these slurs or talk about this group of race if you're this or that. It's it's not sustainable. A multicultural, multi-ethnic society cannot handle some people being able to live by certain rules while others don't. And then you couple this with the way big tech operates, and the cancel culture mobs, the targeted harassment campaign mobs, and what you get is this completely unsustainable system where it's unfortunately just about power. So it doesn't matter how virtuous one particular group or side claims to be, because then you just get, well, this guy thinks that Jews are responsible for all the world's ailments, and this guy thinks that it's white people that are the cause of all the world's ailments. Here's this ugly fat chick with blue hair. She thinks it's men, but not black men, because that's racist. You know, like all this. It's not sustainable. It's going to implode, and this is the first pimple.
Yeah.
But I feel like it wasn't like this growing up. Like, I don't know how old you guys are. I'm in my mid-30s. I don't remember it being like this in the 90s. It seemed pretty peaceful for the most part. It seems like it's almost like this stuff was introduced into like colleges, like in a real big way. It seems like, and maybe it made its way online, like in I don't know, 2014 or something. But I will say that I work with like a lot of young people, and I did notice that there started to be a difference like around like 2014, 2015. And they started using different words and kind of talking about things a little differently. And I don't know.
Yeah, like the younger people just seem like they're having a lot less fun, and
they're obsessed with their identity. It's very weird. Like, I mean, when we were growing up, people rebelled, and like you got tattoos and whatever, dyed your hair. But like, it's like now they're obsessed with their identity, and I find it very strange. I don't know.
I mean, like I think some of that, it's hard to say like what is the thing that is causing them to be so obsessed with identity. I think it's like a multi-layered issue. Like, I do think some of it might be just like a lack of.
Say, as a member of Gen Z, I would say that it's because my generation, particularly in the United States, even that we're in adulthood, we've always sort of been the weapon of someone else's causes. We've been geared to go into a certain direction culturally and ideologically, whether we like it or not. I remember the whole David Hogg thing where like where the guns kill people crowd or whatever. And there was a tremendous I was always kind of like a Trump kid or whatever, but my sort of like red pill moment of, oh shit, there's an entire infrastructure, this isn't just California, was when I saw mass country nationwide protests where they were calling upon the president to do some executive order for gun legislation, something that he did not have the authority to do because it violates the Second Amendment. So then David Hogg stood on his literal soapbox because he was too short for the podium to speak at, and then he's like, here's every single here's how much Ted Cruz makes for every gunshot victim, $1.09 or whatever. And I was just remember thinking to myself, it's not that he's a puppet, it's that my generation is a puppet. I used to say this in high school all the time. You can have your approved avenues of rebellion, just stay away from me. I don't care. I don't care about you. I don't care about your movement. I don't care about this nonsense. It was enough. It used to be enough for me to just go, well, I'm smarter than all of you and you can do what you want. I don't care. Leave me alone. But then it got to a point where they weren't leaving us alone, and then you get the algorithms that feed you certain stuff. When the Black Lives Matter stuff, I finally, after a few months in, I sort of realized I'm not getting all this content. I'm getting this content feeded to me extra because I'm engaging with it, because I'm saying, look, you're wrong. Black people aren't oppressed. Here's some, And again, it doesn't matter. What my generation has to do is they have to do two things. They can have their approved avenues of rebellion, or they can do what I've done, which is go through the sort of philosophies of the things and create a moral and philosophical system that allows me to do particular actions to counter against it. There's, you fight for it or you fight against it, and that's all there is now. And it's the boomers, Gen X, and millennials. You lazy pieces of shit have facilitated the most wretched timeline ever. You guys had a utopia in the 90s. You guys had post scarcity liberalism. You guys did it. You guys made it, and you fucked it up. So now I'm a monarchist, and the blue-haired ugly women, they're communists, and everything's hell. Thank you so much.
That's one thing. I went to college kind of late in my years, like late 20s, early 30s, and I was just so surprised of like seeing kids that were like, half my age or whatever, and like they were so sure about the things about their political opinions, and they were just so extreme with it, but so confident and sure about it.
I've read more of their own leftist theory than they do.
Like
I don't get it either.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I have a feminist cousin, and I think she majored in gender studies, and
she's unemployed. I see.
Nah, she's kind of, it's weird. She takes care of someone for money. It's kind of, it's bizarre. But I remember like I tried to sit her down, and like, because I saw her posting like, very left-wing shit after the Floyd stuff was going on, and I was just, she was posting stuff about like equity and all this kind of shit, and I kind of know those buzzwords and where they kind of lead to, and I just asked her like
nationalist dog whistle.
Yeah, and I just asked her like, what do you know about Marxism? And it was like I was speaking a different language, like she had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. And
teleology of her own beliefs she didn't understand. Yeah, sounds about right.
It's so interesting to me because, like I said, I was never political until 2020, just not interested. I lived a blissful, very sheltered life. And it was like, as soon as all this stuff started happening, like my spidey senses started like tingling a little bit. I like knew something was wrong. And it's weird how I wonder if some people are just wired differently than other people, because it didn't provoke a lot of other people the same way it provoked me or you guys.
Right.
So
yeah, it is. That like I am thinking that there is. I think you mentioned last time like it might be like a personality thing that makes us notice these kind of things differently to other people. And
some people are prone to conform and are prone to the lizard brain a bit more than other people, and some people use their cerebral cortex more than other people.
yeah,
And it just so happens that you should listen to the people who use their cerebral cortex more than the people who don't. But we don't live in that world, so
this is part of
kill
the thing
me.
too. I mean, your brain isn't developed until you're like 25, I think. So
Yeah.
this idea that these kids are going to college, especially, I hate to say it, like especially young girls, because they're very impressionable. They're easy to kind of convince of sort of anything. And at the end of the day, it's like Marxism or leftism or whatever you want to call it exploits people's better instincts.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, like what you said about like just how girls are so impressionable. I remember, there was something about like at the time like Target was getting flack for like not letting trans people in their bathrooms or some shit like that, and we were just talking about like regular stuff, and she brought it up, and like, oh my god, can you believe they do that? And I just really logically like, I mean, I think they have a good point, and blah blah blah, and it was like this weird like reaction that she got, like she just like never heard a different perspective on that specific subject, but yet she was.
You tried to rationalize with a woman. I feel so bad for you. Oh my, that's rule number one in talking to women. Don't rationalize with them. It's just not possible. You're fine though. We're in California. Florida women are different than California women. Their California women are heathenish demons or whatever.
But yeah, back
like
to
you're a woman. They're more women. That kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, there's a distinction.
Cool. Go on though, Aithne.
I just thought that we could try to get back on the Ye.
Oh, the Ye stuff. Oh, right.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about Kanye. Yeah.
I just know why it's difficult to. I don't know. It seems like collectivism is just very seductive for people. Like to me, I believe that I don't know specifically the ins and outs of like what happened to him when it comes to his deals and everything. I don't keep up with celebrities like that.
Right.
I've got my picture on who I love, have always loved. But I believe that those things happened to him. I don't know why it was so difficult for him to say these specific people did these specific things to me. I don't know why he had to go nuclear and make it into this entire group is responsible. And it seems like he thinks there's some kind of plot to like control celebrities or something, which I
don't know about Jews, but I do know about MK Ultra and Project Mockingbird, and and the fact that they took his $300 million from his account the minute he started talking about Jews on the banks.
I understand that. Like when it comes to evil people in the world, there's also Bill Gates and there's Klaus Schwab, who is actually not Jewish, and there's all of these other people who are also in the evil that's happening in the world. So to just blame it on this one specific racial group, honestly, I don't think really casts a wide enough lens at all.
Yeah.
Well, no, but you can blame the ills of capitalism on white men, and you'll get $1 million contract with the Smithsonian and Coca-Cola, and
right. I mean, you can. But I don't condone that thinking either, So it's you were saying.
Well, you want to close the floodgates. I want to open the floodgates because the floodgates are full.
Oh, geez,
No, the floodgates are full. When water starts topping off, the dam's gonna break. The dam's gonna break anyway. So why not open it up?
Accelerationism, is that what it is?
Well, no, I'm a Burkean conservative. I don't mean it in that sense. I just mean society should have the conversation of do we permit collective guilt, or do we not permit collective guilt? Do we promote collective responsibility, or do we not promote collective responsibility? Because there are some things that are good, and as a Burkean conservative, I acknowledge that there are some good things about national responsibility, like between the peoples of countries. It's actually a way to avoid war, and there's a lot of virtues with it. But it's also a way that you could encourage war, and a lot of unvirtuous things with that. I think society should just have the conversation instead of this weird little thing where we're in two separate dimensions at once. You know, because like they're not magnetic.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to come closer together. They're only try to force the same charge of a magnet together. They will repel each other. And we just have to do something about it before the next Kanye decides to be a little less talkative.
And I do think that, like, I do kind of, I don't know, like a feel for Kanye, because I remember a couple years ago, he was on like TMZ or something like that, and people got what he said wrong about I think he originally said like slavery, like if you hear about slavery for 400 years, it sounds like a choice, but people construed it to think like he's saying that slaves had a choice to be slaves or some shit like that. And I remember that whole interview, he had some decent points. He was just verbalizing them not the best way, but I knew what he was talking about. It's subject matter that like is hard to talk about. Yeah,
poet,
yeah, exactly.
You know?
He's not an intellectual juggernaut, or he's just a guy. But you know, he had some things to say then, but he was kind of mocked, and I guess it feels like he sort of like he burrowed underground. Maybe he went into those like rabbit holes, and now he just came up, and now he's just like, it's easy to get wildly confused when you follow this kind of shit. Yeah. And especially when you mix emotion with this kind of stuff. Plus, I mean, him being a celebrity, there's it's hard to meet just imagine anyone being a celebrity not being like just narcissistic and just off the rocker, because it's a weird life to live. Like, imagine just 1 million people knowing who you are. It's gonna kind of fuck with you. So to be on that level of fame, like, that's really gotta just pile up on you. So
I think he's trying to have nuanced conversations in arenas where nuanced conversations can't happen. And it was never going to end like well for him. And I agree with you. I mean, I think that like when you're a celebrity, and the thing is, like, as a person who I felt like, you know, when I started sort of figuring stuff out, like, I didn't feel like I could like keep it to myself. I'm like, I need to say something, and I need to say it like online. You know what I mean? Like, I need my friends from college to know what I think. I lost a lot of friends. And I think if you take that and you magnify it times however wealthy he is, however famous he is, I mean, that's a recipe for, like, I was very depressed in 2020, like extremely depressed.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine how he must feel being out there without any support, you know, with his wife. He doesn't know if he's going to be able to see his kids. He doesn't know his school, where are they going to have their building. I agree with you. I feel bad for him, because I just think that he just doesn't.
If society had just shown compassion for 10 minutes, this could have all been avoided. But no, we were a bunch of dirty Yanks, and we get everything we deserve. You know, every hardship, every hurricane, every natural disaster, every Kanye West, we deserve it. We deserve all of it.
Is he still doing interviews, or is he kind of been? I know he was on Gavin's show like last week. I didn't listen to it, but I think, like, I honestly, McGinnis. Yeah. Okay. Like, I honestly, to a point, I do think that like he would benefit Kanye if he had like his own podcast.
Kanye should have his own podcast.
Actually,
and then start doing some media training on the side. He should make a Rumble account and just record for an hour a day. Put it online. Hire someone to make a thumbnail for him, and then just handle the description. and
Like-
then just go over to, and then just like, oh, I got this out of my system for an hour, and then he turns his phone off, so that like the Jews from the United Kingdom or whatever attack him or whatever.
Yeah, like I do think that like I was
brandy and scotch here.
Yeah.
I do say, sir, that's not very nice.
Yeah.
It's just, I hate this timeline so much, and I hate the people in it so much. Like, this is awful. Everything sucks.
Like if he had if he had his own podcast, like who do you guys think would be like interesting guests to like sort of?
Oh, me. Oh, not guests. I thought you were about watching it.
But besides,
he has access to everybody. You know what I mean? Anybody who would go on it. And I think to your point about when like him being like a bridge between the two worlds, I think that would actually be a great place to start, to be honest.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about that the other day, like if he had his own podcast, like who I think would be good for him. Like I'm not sure about Jordan Peterson. Like I think he's too strict. I think he's too. He's too serious. Yeah, he's too serious, maybe. And
he's in his Sigma revenge arc right now, and I don't think he should. I think he should like wait till he's done. You know.
Yeah, apparently he's been weird on Twitter since he's been back. Somebody was telling me. I'm not on Twitter, but I heard he's been like just saying some weird stuff a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't really followed much.
Tatakai, you know.
Yeah, I haven't really followed much about what he's been up to, like ever since I think like Daily Wire has been doing stuff with him. I haven't really followed anything at all.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Oh yeah.
I love him though. He's
Sigma Jordan, Sigma Peterson, top tier. I'd watch that anime. 1 million seasons, Sigma Jordan. 1 million seasons, Sigma Peterson. You know.
I do think someone like maybe like Michael Malice would be good with Kanye.
He'd be able to reel him in.
Because he's really smart, but he's also really funny too, and I think that's what's.
And he's compassionate.
Yeah,
he doesn't discriminate against beliefs. So
yeah, so I think he would be good. But yeah, I think.
Oh, with who's that one guy with the long hair and the scraggly beard, the weird guy on Simple's show?
Oh my god, Ian.
Ian Crossing, no hate or no hate or anything, and Ian, I know you know no hate, but it's just like I mean weird in a good way. You know, I totally got like radicalized on graphite and nuclear power because we totally radicalized me on that. I'll admit it.
Yeah, what is the graphite stuff? Is that like an energy source?
So basically, you take the excess carbon in the atmosphere and then you turn it into a steel alternative, and you use that to make buildings instead of putting carbon in the air to make steel.
Right. Huh.
So it's about repurposing instead of just going, you will eat the bugs and you shall live in the pod. You know, it's a much more human way of going about climate change instead of like, you will eat raw cockroaches, you fucking peasant bitch, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I've been seeing a whole lot of like ads for like plant-based meat now and shit. It's so...
Don't do it.
It's really...
I actually just ordered... This is a completely different subject, but did you guys see that? Do you guys listen to Joe Rogan regularly? Anybody?
Once in a while.
Wow, okay. I know.
I would like to, but I listen to too much podcasts already.
Yeah.
I don't listen to him a lot, but he had on this guy, Will Harris, who has this like regenerative farm called White Oak Pastures. And it was amazing. It was so good. And I ordered $250 worth of steak from his farm. And we actually had it for dinner tonight because it's all grass fed. Everything is like a circular like ecosystem. Honestly, it's so funny because it's all the stuff that I cared about when I was in college. Like I was a vegan in college. I cared about the local food movement and all that stuff. And it's funny because that's almost like a like right-wing conservative thing now to care about.
Yeah.
Chaining yourself to McDonald's and screaming at the top of your lungs.
Yeah. It's like, or like I call like anything that's like processed, like I'm sorry if you guys eat like gross processed food, but I call it dirty corporate fiat food.
Fiat food.
So any of that stuff. But the thing is, I've always been that kind of like organic, more kind of crunchy person. So it's just weird that now those are more like libertarian right wing types as opposed to, I thought we were supposed to be the ones who like only cared about profit driven corporations.
Yeah.
That's just like how it is at all.
Well, so long as the political system is determined by those who are Oh, not this bullshit again. Oh, that's gay, bro.
You want to?
Everything good now?
Yeah, I mean, you're fuzzy,
now?
but your sound is good, but your picture's fuzzy, but whatever.
Oh, okay. My room is a mess, so I need to have the virtual background because because how I present myself is part of my business because I don't do marketing for myself. Anyway, what was I talking about again before? Or what were you talking about? Athena. No, that, yes.
What are we talking about? Oh, dirty, filthy corporate fiat food.
Yeah.
Nasty stuff.
Yeah. Do you also? I do think the whole Kanye thing. I do sort of see it as like the continued like, death of like the quote unquote celebrity. Like, with like all this election shit. Like I've seen so many like celebrities like pipe in about politics and just say the stupidest shit.
Well, you know when it's so. I like to think that the celebrity hate really started at the beginning of COVID when they made that Imagine video. Do you remember that?
Oh God, yeah.
Listen to Lady Gaga in the Satan bath with the breast milk and the blood moon flowers and the Satan chants. You know, get your daily fix of celebrities.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like I just feel like that was where and then like you had Nancy Pelosi with her like ice cream like fridge and stuff, and I just think that was the point. I feel like that was when a lot of the animosity towards celebrities started. And I agree with you. Nobody gives a shit about the Oscars anymore. Nobody cares about the Golden Globes. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And they're not going to be able to survive because they can't make money.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome to see because
it's amazing, honestly. Watching it.
Well, the slavery people used to not be able to make a lot of money, and they were also Democrats. So. History repeating itself. I don't know.
I think that they're like, well, honestly, I think there's reason to be hopeful because I think that like all of these like means of like mind control, like the fact that like 4 years ago they had like the colleges, the celebrities, you know, the corporate press, all of the above, they have lost so many people and so many means. And honestly, I think they're freaking out. I really do. I think that they're
because
losing.
Now they have their 30% loyal followers and only their 30% loyal followers.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, but it's even showing like in entertainment, like everything like streaming on whatever service like just seems so boring to me.
Yeah.
I tried watching the
you should just take the anime pill. Take the anime pill, watch a bunch of anime. You're gonna like it. You'll enjoy yourself. It's fucking stories. Yeah. I was able to watch stories for the first time in my life.
I've been tempted to like delve into some new brand of media, so maybe anime might be the way out because
you could breathe.
Attack on Titan, Death Note, Dragon Ball Z. The Eminence and Shadows, a new one. It's fucking hilarious. Like I've watched like 20 now, so you know.
Is there any like anime that's not like I have to do so much homework to like get into it? Like I feel like
no, you could just watch. You could just as long as you could just watch. You start from season 1.
Because like how many episodes would you say like Dragon Ball Z has? Because
you could just watch Dragon Ball Z Kai.
Okay.
They literally is just Dragon Ball Z but without the filler episodes.
Okay.
It's like 80 episodes, 20 minutes each episode or something like that.
But yeah, so about the whole death of celebrity thing, also, like, just as you guys mentioned, like the whole thing about him being drugged up and everything like that, and you have your Britney shirt.
I do.
Like, that is a factor about all this that I think people are missing out. Like, why are
Is that
celebrities?
Kyrie Irving?
Who?
The shirt.
Sure,
I'm
no,
kidding.
it's Britney.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, I saw this clip with Dave Chappelle on Oprah like several years ago when he turned down that $30 million deal or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he basically said, he was like, you hear about, I think he was talking about Chris Rock running down the street yelling like they're trying to kill me or something like that. Or he was like talking about he's like, there's something that happens when people go from like one level to the next. And I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm not going to take the money. And I think you're right. I think there is something to that. I mean, I love Britney. I've loved her since she came out with her first album. And you watch videos of her when she was like young to her videos now, something happened to her. I don't, there's not much of her left. And I don't know whether it's the lithium. I don't know what the deal is, but I do think that something happens to these celebrities.
Do you think that with like a Britney, like because she like blew up so young that like maybe that stunted her like mental kind of
Macaulay Culkin, yeah, like that kind of thing, yeah.
Britney is very much like, she's a very like an archetype to me. Like I think that she is what happens when like young innocent femininity doesn't have like a strong like protector. Because essentially, yeah, she was out there. She's not like all that smart, to be honest. Like, you know what I mean? She's like, she's kind of like vulnerable, and she didn't have anybody to like kind of like fend off the demons. And I think ultimately, unless you're like a really, really strong like individual with like a strong character and sense of who you are, I think it's especially young women. I just think that they get eaten alive. And I think that what you have is this like shell of this person. And that's why women need protection.
So should we abolish the 19th Amendment and end universal suffrage?
I mean,
I'm a monarchist. I don't think anyone should be voting. It's a trick question, no matter what you lose.
To vote, but to be honest, like if you look at the numbers, like women are causing all of the problems. So
yeah, that's an interesting conversation to have.
That is an interesting conversation to have. Honestly, again, like I think I can be trusted too, but I would gladly give it up if everybody else couldn't either.
Yeah. Like I was thinking, like
I'm joking, by the way, not about the monarchy thing, but
I'm not really.
Okay.
Now that everything is like the shit's hitting the fan, I feel like I have to like stand up and like be involved in like the conversation. But like I didn't need to be, you know what I mean? Like I was perfectly happy not. But now it's like a little bit too late. I think like Milo was talking about on Tim Pool when he did his show. Which did you guys listen to that episode that he did?
Oh my god,
that was a great episode.
What I was hoping.
Yeah, that's how I was hoping.
That's what I was hoping episode 2 would be.
Yes, me too. I was really looking forward to it. But what he was saying about how like women shouldn't have to be involved in this kind of stuff, but now that we have to, you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who are like, well, I guess if nobody else is gonna do it, I'm gonna have to do it, and that's kind of like the way I feel about it a little bit.
Yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert are the only girl bosses I accept.
Yeah.
In society. And to be honest, they annoy me a little bit sometimes.
Well, I haven't really like pussified. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? You have to have women who get it, because there's always gonna be some sliver that gets it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know much about Lauren Boebert. I do.
She's a right-wing AOC, but doesn't lie.
Okay. I know
she's sort of like the opposite end of the spectrum, so that both sides can have like equal political strength or whatever. She's just like a natural phenomenon that has occurred.
Yeah, I know who she is. I've never because I know Marjorie Taylor Greene has been on Tim Pool. I've seen interviews with her. Lauren Boebert, I haven't really seen much.
She's Lauren Boebert was the woman that when she got sworn in, she was carrying a sidearm.
Nice.
And then to DC, and then when they said, "Hey, you can't bring a sidearm in here. This is the Capitol." She's like, first off, I'm an American citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I'm a member of Congress. I'm off. Like that's almost an exact quote.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of like the femininity of like dudes, I did get like angry girl vibes from Kanye, like in some of his outbursts, especially like when Tim Cool kind of like confronted him, like when he stormed out, he seemed kind of like a frustrated teenage girl, and that's
he frilled his jacket in his face like some kind of
Like I do think that he's like sort of like he has like the demons of left, like he has the left demon still in him. So
he isn't very well composed, I think is what you're saying at. Like I think that there are some people who can really operate under pressure and continue to be like, eloquent and think clearly. He is not one of them.
Yeah.
Because he's got a little bit of that passion that he's an artist, so, I mean, I get that.
Kanye, I hate to say that I'm like Kanye to any degree, but I feel like he's the kind of guy who doesn't handle pressure well because he's used to eliminating pressure as soon as it's in front of him. Like that's exactly what I do. On weekdays, I try my best to wake up at 5 so that I can just chill out for like 3-4 hours after the end of the day, and it doesn't mean anything. Kanye's that kind of person. I don't know if he's like organized like that, but I think he's like that a little bit in his head, where he's just like, I cannot be stressed because I fucking hate being stressed, and anyone who stresses me is an enemy. I think that's what he's going on.
Yeah, I just think that he doesn't, I don't even know that it's that deep. I think he just thinks like he starts to boil. I mean, I again, like and it still happens to me. I'll start talking to somebody. I was talking to a girl at work actually about Kanye, and she started bringing stuff up. I could just feel my face getting red and just like getting a little on the elevated side.
Yeah.
And I just think it's like there's a type of person who is like that and a type of person who is just a little bit better under pressure.
It just came to like my head right now, but it has got to be interesting for someone like Kanye, because when you're a celebrity and you're like up there, you're surrounded by like yes men constantly. So for him to go from like that surrounding him to like the world hating you within like a span of a week, it's really got to just be such a
and then the world discriminating against you, and then finding out you've been discriminated your entire career. Also.
Well, and he didn't grow up as
and then Farrakhan shows up,
like Kim and all the siblings, all the Kardashians, they grew up like in that world kind of, like even if they weren't as famous when they were younger. But I didn't realize how normal Kanye grew up. Like, his mom was I can't remember what he said. She was just like a nothing like actress or something, but his dad was just like a PhD.
Yeah, did you see the Tucker Carlson interview he did?
Yes, yeah. That's what he was talking about it.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff he brought up. Like something about like his mom threatened to take him away from his dad or something like that. Yeah. And that's gotta fuck with you. So
he grew up in like kind of a rough neighborhood in Chicago, like, and I think that this is one of the things about, because there are a lot of red-pilled rappers in whatever capacity you want to talk about. You've got Nicki, who had her whole thing with like not wanting to take the vaccine and not wanting to go to the White House. That was a whole thing. You had Lil Wayne, who went to go see Trump at the White House. You had Cube, who wouldn't take the vaccine. Literally, he's been in the news recently. And I think it's because so many of these like rappers didn't grow up in Hollywood. They haven't been groomed to be this way. So it's like, I think when you look at somebody like Cardi B, who is very much like of the establishment, I think that like they kind of groomed her to like, they're like, oh fuck, we can't like trust these other like kind of wild cards, sort of like free thinkers. So we need other cultural icons in this sphere to be able to sort of do our bidding or whatever. I remember the interview with her and Biden. I watched it like before
you didn't miss anything.
Why would you allow Cardi B to interview anyone?
It was
let alone the president of the United States.
She was like making like weird noises during the interview, she was making like bird noises or some shit like that. It was
Well, okay, Joe Biden is
odd.
senile, and you gotta like grab his attention when he starts drifting off into the ether. You
Oh
know,
god, it was so
but
embarrassing to watch.
It was embarrassing, and I felt that it was like honestly really racist, to be honest. I
Yeah.
think that when I watched it, I was like, this is what the Democrats think of Black people. And I think that like everybody should be offended and disturbed by that, to be honest.
I'm glad I didn't watch this or
It was
even know about it
it
until
was
now. Thanks for letting me know about this. I appreciate it.
I was still stumbling through my awakening at that point, so I was like, you know, kind of watching everything.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. But the fucked
I'm
up
really
thing
sorry
is
you had to go through that.
the fucked up thing is that like kind of worked, because I know people that like were talking positively about that interview, and I didn't want to like barge in and burst their bubble, but it's not good that like people can get sucked into that.
Well, I remember at the time, and this goes back to the way I feel like the Democrats do. They think they own Black people, they own their votes, and they think they're entitled to them. And I remember during the Georgia runoff last time, they had this advertisement. It was like "Get your booty to the polls," and it was like a bunch of strippers who were like,
oh yeah,
singing and
sounds...
dancing.
oh my god, yeah,
And
oh god, I'm reminded
my
of that.
college group text like sent it over, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, guys, this is so funny.
Yeah.
Make sure that you vote in Georgia if you live there, blah blah blah, whatever." And I remember watching it because again, I was very much going through my awakening at that point, and I was like, "This is so racist to me," because none of you guys would want your girls or your kids behaving in this way, but you think it's fine for like these lower class Black people to behave that way.
Look,
and
democracy is gay. I've said this before on this show, but democracy is gay, and you should read Aristotle.
Listen, I think we're all like understand that, but I'm just saying, like in this particular situation, it was like, I just feel like this is what the left like thinks, and I think that when you have somebody like Kanye who does like bust out of that, they're a little bit like, oh, abort, because they're losing control of like a like cultural like, you know, paradigm that they had full of.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You just put Black people in abort in the
Sorry,
my mind went into a really dark, very funny place just now.
All right, I guess we got a few more minutes left. I guess it's really quickly just go over not exactly like what was in it, but like the whole Twitter leaks and all the Hunter Biden stuff. Like why anyone would even turn on mainstream news nowadays is fucking beyond me. But it's I do see this as like a continued like both sides separating even more, because to try to explain to people like why the Hunter Biden story, like why it's an important thing like historically, and for them to like not register at all like its importance, like what it means for like the future of voting and future of journalism, like how
yeah, sure, I can't right now though.
like do you guys see like a positive like bridging the gap coming out of this, or anything?
No.
Or is it just going to be continued, like both sides are going to continue to drift?
Well, there's gonna both sides. You could go first. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, I have alienated a lot of people over the past like 3 years by things that I've like talked about or posted, and I think like like you follow me on Instagram, so you kind of like know the kind of things I post. I like try to like stick to things that are relevant to like all sides, all people, because I think that to an extent they want us sort of like divided.
Right.
So like today I like posted about that womb facility that company in Germany is creating. Did you hear about that?
I haven't heard about that.
Okay, so basically this German company is like developing technology where they're like artificial, like large scale artificial wombs, like womb
Oh
factories.
God.
Oh God, like Matrix style shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah. So they
God.
can kill humans. And like I try to like kind of post about that kind of like technocratic, like
Mm-hmm.
global control sort of stuff, like the banks, all of that stuff, because ultimately I think that like we kind of need our leftist like brothers and sisters,
Oh
even
yeah,
though
yeah.
they don't know it. And so I'm like, I can't reach them if I'm like posting like, oh, you stupid idiots, I told you the laptop was real. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not, can't post that because they're gonna stop following. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Mm.
So I think that I try to bridge the gap by like not posting like alienating stuff and just trying to like get them to the point that they're like, oh, but she's posted enough stuff that like we have that in common. So what is this maybe? So maybe someday I could, But no, I don't think the Twitter files are gonna like convince any ideologues. No.
Like I'm curious to just do like a poll and like ask people like, are you aware of like the importance of like the Hunter Biden story, from what it was to the info in it, but also like the whole Twitter suppressing it. Like, does the average person like know the significance of that, of like why it should be, like why it's a story? And
I don't think so.
it's a,
I hate to kind of be a broken record, but it doesn't matter whether or not the average person thinks of it or not. The society is going to hell.
Mhm.
People are picking sides. I've been saying this since late 21. It's side picking time.
Mm.
Pick the sides, let the sides have the battle, and whoever has the most power is whoever wins, because that's the dynamic. But
Yeah.
so long as we keep this like veneer of everything is still okay, and the and while both sides have the noble opposition or whatever, while both sides are actively trying to do whatever they can to screw each other over, whether it's the sort of MAGA crowd, the national populist crowd, or the sort of new age Gen Z Christian types, where they're sort of like, hey, they're all about power.
Mhm.
And the left is the American left is a collection of post-Marx socialist doctrine
Mhm.
with a little bit of Rousseau in there, and a few other things that I don't remember off the top of my head. And so their philosophy is essentially predicated on power too.
Mm.
There will make the world a better place if we implement our ideas, and the other side is we'll make the world better if we implement our ideas.
Mm.
Okay, so if you're not going to let each other implement their ideas, if the right doesn't want to let the left win because they're against genocide, oh my, who am I to say now?
Yeah.
I know you think abortion is genocide, and like you're against genital mutilation and stuff like that, and you're against debauching children and humanity at large. But have you thought about how that makes the other side feel?
Mhm.
Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, that's not going to convince them. And then you do the same thing with the left. I know you want to make the world a better place. I know you want everything to be fair and everything to be equal. But have you thought about what your enemies have to say about that? There's no reconciliation. There's no coming together. This is the fate of all enlightenment. So this is the fate of all societies that use the Enlightenment. It's our fault for implementing this in the first place, and we can either learn from our mistake, or we can be the next enlightened society to commit a genocide.
Yeah.
I think
So
ultimately, like people need to sort themselves into states, groups, whatever, with
Mhm.
like minded people, and then we can all have a nice. We can kind of say goodbye to each other, and that doesn't even necessarily have to mean like breaking apart specifically, but like we can maintain like a national defense and all that stuff. But ultimately, I'm like, if you're like sort of like right wing, come on down to Florida. If you're not, please don't move here. I don't want you to come. And I also like build a wall at the north border and then secede and make DeSantis our king. Like that's like what I don't think
the
that
kingdom of Yankee land. Yes.
Yankee land. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Florida, Florida, a couple other states, Texas.
How is that?
This is because Yankee is like the N word, but for Americans.
Oh,
the kingdom of Yankee land.
It would be
But
great.
like sort of like an A,
Yeah,
not an R, an A, like that one. See
Yeah.
the stupid rules that I have to deal with. Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
I just think apparently like
dance.
There were like 9 Republicans who were registered for every like one Democrat that was registered in Florida last year or something. And those are great numbers. I love that. That being said, the Republicans are bad too. So we have to get good Republicans. So
yeah.
I think, you know.
I guess before we go, I've never asked you this, like, have you noticed like any spike of like leftists going to Florida?
No.
No.
I would say if I still lived in Philadelphia, like I wouldn't have any friends at all. But actually, like most of my friends here are either explicitly like conservative or right wing, or they're like freedom oriented. Like, you know, for example, I have a friend who had a very like good paying job. She was going to leave it because she didn't want to get vaccinated, because she's very like kind of like hippie, earthy sort of. She's not really like, she's not conservative, you know. She like cried when Roe was overturned. I'm like, girl, you need to like listen. But you know what I mean?
So natural, the shank and the vacuum,
Yeah,
you know, and the tongs.
But people are more open here, I think, and I don't think that people let it control their mind or their lives as much, because even the people who are kind of like dumb leftists, like the whole Kanye thing, I was like, oh, I'm like hoping this doesn't, but I just kind of stayed off the internet about it and didn't talk to anybody about it at work, so it wasn't really a problem, to be honest.
I gotta be honest, like the side that was most annoying to me when the Ye stuff was happening was the right, because I could only deal with so many anti-Semitism is wrong posts before I just want to vomit.
Like, whatever,
you know what I mean? Yeah, like I got it.
And then you had the sort of like weird Chad Sigma position of anti-Semitism is funny. You know?
Yeah.
And like I enjoyed consuming that content and that particular psyop, you know, but you know, it is what it is.
All right, I guess we can start winding down. Let's see what time it is. All right, I don't know.
For you to get a watch.
I don't know. You guys have any like last thoughts you want to throw in there? Anything about Britney?
Nothing about Britney. I will say something I did post about Ye before it all got weird, before he was on Pitbull, was he was seen after they took away his bank account. He was seen wearing a Satoshi Nakamoto hat. So I was like, Bitcoin, what? So I think it's a Bitcoin, so that's good.
Okay.
Bitcoin baddie here.
Trevor, you have any last things about the whole?
Yes, I would just like to say that Chase is a private company, which means it gets to do whatever it wants with Kanye West's money.
Oh, absolutely. But I think that we need to like see that. And
no, I'm being facetious. I don't know. No. The point was that's not okay. That was the point.
I kind of do think that, but I'm like, that means that we need like a like form of a way to store our value that is it can't be violated. And that's
say some kind of decentralized digital currency where every single individual currency has a chain of labor to it with a complicated process so that it can't be printed. You know, so if only something like that existed.
If only, right? All right, I guess we'll start. We'll say goodbyes. I guess Aithne, you want to plug your stuff or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. You can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Pinkatlasshrugged. I post about all kinds of stuff. I'm an artist professionally, so I post my work there as well. I'm a display person for anthropology, so that's where I post a lot of my 3D installations. And yeah.
All right, Trevor.
Yeah, two things. One, physical media is forever. Buy Laserdisc. And two, I would just like to say that if you can click the with Koji down below in the description, where I will have a free meeting with you to talk about how you can decentralize your social media presence so that you can never be a victim of cancel culture ever again.
Nice. All right, and I'm Senor Filth. I'm hoping to start my movie show by next month, so keep an eye out for that. Also, my music mix show, same thing. Also by next month. I'll probably take a break from this show for a few weeks, just to enjoy the fucking holidays and not think about this stuff for some peace and quiet. So yeah, I guess we'll leave it there. Thank you guys for watching. Peace. See ya.